So, what can you tell us about the Emirates flight training centers in the UAE and Middle East?
So we'll talk first about our presence here in the UAE, and we have one of our largest civil flight centers in the world here. It's not all in one place, but in the UAE there's over 30 and close to 36 flight simulators deployed on the civil side of our business. But we also do a substantial amount of business with the military organizations in the UAE and also in the region. The UAE is a terrific place for us to base our operations from because it's so easy to travel to other parts of the region.
Alright. So earlier this week, CAE won several contracts worth 100 million from Europe and the Middle East.
Yes.
What can you tell us about these contracts?
Well, the contracts we reported are not all our orders for the quarter. We picked some contracts in particular to first show people that we work all over the world. And if you see those contracts, you'll see that we picked contracts in different regions and different types of platforms. You'll see them spread in places like Europe and the Middle East and Australia. You'll see jet fighter related contracts, but also upgrades for rotary wing aircraft. So our intent was to select a number of contracts to show how truly diverse we are geographically, how diverse we are in the different types of aircraft we work with, and it really is all types of aircraft. And here at IDEX, one of the things we'd like to teach people is to show them that we work not just in air, but in air, ground combat systems, and in public safety.
So Elbit has been hired by Elbit hired CAE for the Alenia Air Marty simulators. Yes.
Israel, yeah.
So what can you tell us about about this particular contract?
Yeah, so let me talk a little bit about the M346. Something very interesting is happening in training overall, and then in the use of synthetic training. The next generation of fighter aircraft we know are very, very expensive. And one of the things that is happening is people are doing more training systems design. And that means that they're examining all the training tasks to determine which have to be done in the fighter aircraft and which could be done in a simulator. And therefore, they're making decisions about how to design their training programs in the future to make efficient use of simulators. More so, these aircraft are so expensive and will be in such short supply that they're going to need a new class of aircraft called the fighter lead-in trainers in order to transition pilots into these fifth-generation fighters. Not only does that make for a more complex training enterprise, even the fighter lead-in trainers will have simulators. So there's going to be a more comprehensive approach to training as pilots transition into jet aircraft and then transition into the operational jet fighters. And simulators will play a role in that transition. So I think what we'll see in the future is that pilots will be used to using simulators from the first time they learn to fly in propeller-driven aircraft through their transition and ultimately into their operational aircraft. You want to add to that?
Sure. I mean, specifically for the M346 itself and the program in Israel, our relationship with Air Mackie started back in 2005-2006 when we were selected as their training partner for the aircraft itself. So we've been delivering, basically developing and delivering training solutions for the M346 from the start. And that's the reason that Elbit is using that fundamental same solution that we developed with Air Mackie for the Israeli project.
So can you tell us specifically about your ventures in the Middle East, in detail?
Sure.
Cameron's the
well,
expert.
I think we talk about. You asked about programs and things. I think you would have seen press releases. We recently won a project in Kuwait, KC-130J simulator through FMS. That project was signed in end of August, beginning of September this year, and will ultimately include also a building and a set of services that go along with that, and all through the U.S. Navy, delivered to Kuwait in early 2015. we also recently signed a contract with Airbus Military to provide a C-295 simulator for Oman, and that'll be going into service later in 2014. UAE, we're in the process of building an AW139 simulator for Abu Dhabi Aviation via Mubadala, and so that actually will be delivered this year. We've got a MRTT, part test trainer and integrated procedures trainer that were just RFT'd last week, so entered into training as of the beginning of this week with the customer in Al Ain. There's a pair of sister devices for Saudi Arabia that we've done. Also, we've delivered advanced trainer simulators we're under contract to deliver those trainer simulators to Saudi in 2015. And we're doing C-130H simulation as well for Saudi Air Force, which are already in service in Jeddah, and more to come. So quite a lot of activity in the region.
So you mentioned Mubadala before. Any other joint ventures or partnerships?
Well, nothing that we're certainly able at this point to discuss, but Mubadala is clearly an important partner in the region, as well as Tawazun on the military side, and we're absolutely keen to continue to do business with both of those organizations.
Yeah, one other partnership, if we expand the definition to include India, one of the unique things in India, we talk here about air and land. We also do a considerable amount of business on the naval side in India. Another unique thing in India is our partnership with HAL on the Hats Off joint venture, and our goal is to make that into the Center of Excellence for Rotary Wing Training in India, and that's a venture that's been going on now for a couple of years.
Well, thank you so much.